today we are going to talk about all of the inner workings of how to start a business. How many people in the room already have a business? Yes, several people. Several people have a business. Anybody looking to start a business? Okay, great. There's lots of helpful information in this class today. So we help entrepreneurs own their worth, work their vision, and win on purpose. And might I add, this presentation is sponsored by PNC and Innovate Alabama? Yes? Great. All right. So getting into it, who am I? About me. So I'm Renee Price. I'm a business empowerment coach, a tax strategist, and a multi-business owner. A couple of my businesses are Work Smart Solutions, which that's why I'm here today. We do coaching and technical management. Now, technical management, what does that mean? You're a business owner, you have a problem, something technical, we have the solution for you. We either do it with you or we do it with you or show you how to do it. So, oh, that's not good, is it? All right, we do taxes as tax prep and strategy. I also have a celebration company, Partyology, and one e-commerce company called Looking Good Girl, where we specialize in women's shapewear. I'm passionate about helping entrepreneurs grow with strategy, structure, and confidence. So why does Business 101 still matter? How many of you guys have went to a cohort or taken a class or went to anything where entrepreneurs are supposed to get this load of information, and what you find is that you're just kind of overloaded, right? They've given you all the tools, but you are still stuck on how to actually execute it. That's where we come in and we help you out. Every business needs to start with clarity, consistency, and compliance. So in this session, we're going to go back to the foundations to be sure that we have a solid foundation for our business. Got those notes? Okay. All right. So let's get started. There are 3 C's of business success that I have found. Okay. There are several things that you need to be successful in your business, but I found these 3 to really work for me and my clients. First things first, when you start a business, it can be exciting. We're all excited. We're passionate. We got this thing that we're good at and we finna get to the money, right? Clarity. You need to have clarity. You need to know your business model like the back of your hand, who you serve, and your value. That value piece, guys, is super, super important. I had to learn for myself. I had to learn it for myself because if you don't know your value, you don't know your worth, and you're going to find yourself not making enough, not charging enough, and you're going to end up being burnt out. But if you start your business with understanding your value, you'll charge what you're worth. If you're lost and you don't have any clarity about where you're going with your business, you're gonna burn out fast. Compliance. Number one thing, and the number one reason why I'm in business is compliance. A lot of business owners do not do the research to figure out what they need to be in compliance for their business. And this is number one. It's not number 2. It's not after you start making money. It's actually before you start your business. You need to figure out, what do I need to do to be in compliance in this industry for my business? That's a big one, and that's something that people just kind of don't get till later. And I'm able to tell you because I have had some situations in all the businesses that I've created where I did not make this first priority and I burned on the back end. The next one I'm going to say is consistency. You all know that consistency is definitely a part of being a business owner. You don't need 1,000 ideas. You need to execute one daily. Now, I know I'm saying that standing before you and I have 5 businesses, but I didn't start all of them at one time. You start with one, you perfect it, you do what you need to do with it, make sure you have all this down packed, then you can go to another one. But first, in that first business, make sure you have clarity on where you're going. Make sure you're in compliance. That includes the LLC, EIN, bank account, NAICS code. We're going to go over all of that. And then being consistent. It can be overwhelming being a business owner with all the things that you learn and all the things you take in to try to start, grow, and scale your business. But as long as you get up every single day and do something consistently for that business, 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now, you'll see how that consistency has paid off in your business. So just don't give up. You literally have to trust that process. You have to fall in love with that process. You have to hate that process and fall back in love with it again. Okay? Don't give up. So we're going to hone in on clarity just a little bit more. So knowing your business model, we talked about the value and who you serve. So before you form that LLC, you need to be clear on what you're building and who it is for. At any given time, someone should be able to ask you that and you should be able to answer that question. Next thing, I remember going to a business class And y'all, I only have a high school diploma, but I went to a business class, and there was one key thing that stood out to me, and the teacher said, a successful business is when you find a need and you solve it. Find a need in your community and solve it. So what problem do you solve? Who pays you and what makes you different? You need to know that when you are thinking about starting a business, and even when you've already started a business, sometimes that changes. You need to make sure you know what these 3 questions are. What are you solving? Who is paying you, your target audience, and what makes you different? Because if you go to the grocery store, it's a whole bunch of different breads, yogurts, ice creams, right? But what makes you stand out? Why should I spend my money with you? And which one of my pain points are you solving? Okay? Without clarity, you'll end up saying yes to everything and building nothing. Clarity helps you market smarter, price better, and plan for profit. Next up, compliance. So structure it right from the beginning. Don't think you just gonna hustle and sell a little bit, then you're gonna go get an LLC, then you're gonna go get a bank account. Start it right from the beginning. Now this is the unsexy part, as my thing says, because it's not fun. But what it does, it protects you, positions you for funding, and gives you access to real money. The LLC formation is just the beginning. Now, everybody doesn't have to have an LLC. We can get deeper into that a little bit later. But a lot of my clientele that comes to me, they're sole proprietors. They move over to LLCs and then they get to S Corps. You have C Corps. You have nonprofits. You have lots of other entities that you can be. But the number one thing that I see a lot of is LLC. But that doesn't mean that that's the right structure for you. So LLC formation, yes.
Is there a particular order that a person should acquire these things?
Yes, it's in the slide.
Okay.
We're gonna get to it. All right. And so with that formation, it's not just, I see people get so excited once they get that name reservation paper or they get that LLC paperwork and they're like, I started my business, and they're all excited. There's several more steps to go, okay? You can celebrate that win, but a NAIC code, an EIN, a DUNS number, and separate bank accounts all need to be taken seriously. It's like a package. You need to do it all together, and a lot of these things I mentioned here are free. All right? You can't get a grant, a contract, or a credit card with a Cash App account and good vibes. I say that, and I say that strongly, right? A lot of us use Cash App. I'm not even gonna down Cash App. I'm not down to Cash App. It's a quick and easy way to make transactions. However, when you have a business, you need a business account. You can't handle any type of serious business with a Cash App, okay? Or PayPal. Compliance gives you leverage and legitimacy. Think about how would you feel if you were having to pay me $5,000 for my consulting services, and I say, here, pay my Cash App. How legitimate does that feel or sound to you? Not very much, right? That bank account is important. Now, consistency. I have 5 businesses and I have 1,000 ideas. I can't believe it. I have a book, y'all, where I'm writing all my ideas down. But am I doing all of them at one time? Absolutely not. I had to learn how to focus and move at a time. Move one at a time. The secret to success is not just multitasking, because you do have to multitask, but it's also the momentum. Remember how we talked about earlier about keep going, that consistency? You'll get momentum as you go. Sometimes it slows down a little bit, but you got to keep getting up and you got to keep going with it. All right? What are you committed to doing every day that builds your business? Ask yourself that. Because if you were working for somebody else, whether you were sick, whether you got a flat on a tire, you're going to do what you got to do to get there, right? You should put that same perseverance into yourself in growing your business, in that consistency role with that. You don't need to start over. I hear people, you get to, something happens, somebody died, maybe you had some type of strong financial struggle that hit you. You don't have to keep starting over. You just have to keep showing up with a strategy that works. And sometimes that means that strategy that you started with, you have to rework it and try again. Okay? Next up. So common business mistakes that I have seen. Choosing the wrong business structure or skipping it altogether. I have spoken to several veteran business owners who do not have an LLC because they've been misinformed. Sometimes they just have a name reservation, which expires in a year, and they thought that that was their LLC, and it was not. Okay? No official EIN number, NAIC code, or business bank account. Your EIN number is like your social for your business. It's free. Okay, there are a lot of organizations and services that will charge you for it. They're charging you for their time to apply for it for you. However, the actual EIN number is free. A NAIC code is free. There's a website that you go to, and then a business bank account. For most of them, maybe you can catch some type of special. Maybe it's free, but most of them it's at least $100 down. And so your EIN number, you can get this on the IRS website right here, irs.gov. And apply for EIN. It's free. Let's get back to the presentation. All right, and then the NAIC code. Here is the NAIC code website. We have one here, census.gov. I love to go straight to the source. Now you can Google this on your own. There will be several search engine things that come up for each of these. But you know, if you go to census.gov, you know that this is not a scam. This is the real deal. You know, if you go to irs.gov, you know it's not a scam. You know it's the real deal. So be careful when you are Googling and researching on your own. But here, the NAIC code, it is standardized used for federal statistical agencies. And so basically, this is a number that goes along with the type of industry you have in your business. Why is this important? Does anybody interested in getting government contracts? Okay. You also use this when you file your taxes as well. So don't think that your business is too small getting your business together. You should know these. Like, this should be a part of your business portfolio. What I do when I help people form their business is I encourage them to create a Google Drive, and everything that you do for your business, from the time you get that name reservation to the time you get one of these codes, put it in there. So at any time you have an opportunity, you're not failing or missing out because you don't have your stuff together. Because if you stay ready,
you don't have to get ready.
You don't have to get ready. Right. Okay. Oh, we didn't came all out the program. Hold on. Let's make it big. Okay. All right, no digital footprint. This is a big one. No domain, email, or website. Does everybody have a website yet? Yep, some people don't. I know we have some new business owners here. An email, it's not at gmail.com. Okay? It is not at gmail.com or yahoo.com or whatever the other ones are. It should be yourbusinessname.com. So I love to use a home office at partyology.com. Home office at WorkSmart Solutions. WorkSmart Solutions is info at worksmartsolutions.com. That is a domain. You can get them from GoDaddy. You can get them from Google. You can Google yourself and figure out which platform you want to use. But a domain name definitely sets you aside. A professional email address. So when you hear people say professional email address, it is not worksmartsolutions@gmail.com. That's not a professional email address. It's going to be your business name. And then, of course, a website. Yes.
What's the name of the website where if you're looking for your different domain names and your business name, there's like a website where you can scan and see if somebody else has that already?
Yes, I'm familiar with what you're talking about. I don't know the name right off. We can get it later. But we're going to talk about searching your business name before we even get to all of this. Okay.
Let me ask you one other question. So when you're saying you do your email account, it should be your businessname.com for your email account?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So what's your business name?
I'm into travel, so
okay.
CME Travel.
So it should be, maybe it's info at cmetravel.com.
Okay.
Okay. Or bookings at cmtravel.com.
Okay.
Okay. And now these do cost. That's not free. It's a small monthly fee. I've seen them as low as $4.99 a month, $9.99 a month, $12.99 a month. But it is a monthly cost, but it's also a business expense, which is important that you have your business account and that expense is coming out of that business account. We'll see how these things work together as we go along. So digital footprint, those are some ways to get started with that. Also, not knowing your numbers or building your business credit. Once we start making that money, y'all, we'll be on the go. We don't think about anything else. But building your business credit is just like building your personal credit, Okay, you have to open up accounts. You have to be consistent with it. You have to buy stuff and pay it off on time. But you have to make sure you're doing it with the right companies that are going to report. And we'll get to that a little bit later. Also, not planning for tax season or long-term growth. Those are mistakes that I see in business. Once you start making money, you have something called a tax liability. You're going to owe taxes. You can't act like you don't owe the taxes. You can't feel like, oh, I ain't making that much. I only made $1,000. I only made $2,000, right? I'm not making $20,000, $100,000. I don't need to file. Yes, you do. And there's a tax liability attached to the money that you're making. It doesn't just go away because you're just making a little. So you have to get with a tax professional. I recommend We Do Taxes. They do a really good job. All right? Yes.
So what determines, like what type of document keeps record of what this small business has made? Is it the client putting their EIN on their taxes? Like what shows how much this business made?
Very good question. So the question is, what shows how much a business has made? So that's going to put us into bookkeeping. All right. You're going to need to have some type of system. So Square is very popular. So if you're doing your invoices through Square, you should be able to see how much you made through Square if you have ran every single transaction through Square. So if you get a cash transaction, you need to also record it in Square if you want that to be accurate. Now for your expenses, you're going to need to get some type of bookkeeping, such as you have Wise, you have QuickBooks, you have Xero. You can Google them. It's a couple of bookkeeping softwares that you can use. Some bank accounts, I hear that Wells Fargo has some type of something in their system now that can kind of keep up with your expenses and stuff. But what you're referring to, that's going to be more so on the bookkeeping side. Nobody keeps up with it but you. So if you don't put a system in place to keep up with it, it won't be kept up with.
And how would IRS know that, okay, this small business made $15,000 if they're not valued? Like how would they know?
They won't. They won't know until you report it to the IRS. However, you were paid. So if you were making over $600 from other companies and they submitted 1099s, then they know. Any more questions on that? That was a good one.
That made me think of your tax planning toolkit. So if you could share that after, because I got pictures of it, but
You do?
you can share your QR code, yeah.
Okay. You're gonna have to send it to me because I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's very helpful. She's right. So I have a tax planning toolkit that helps you plan. And we were talking earlier about when your business makes money, how do you know what your tax liability is? Like, how do I know how much I owe? I made $10,000, Renee. How much do I owe? Okay, great. The IRS has a tax chart. I like to Google tax chart. You can Google it now. Tax chart 2024, and it'll pull up a chart. You take your filing status. So let's say you're single. You find how much you made, and then it'll show you what your tax liability is. And you can do that every year. Give or take, it'll be a couple of $1,000 more, $500 more for the upcoming year. But that's a great way to figure out, hey, I made $10,000 according to the IRS tax chart. I might owe $4,000. So you know within the year, you need to have $4,000 or so aside to take care of that tax liability. Because if you don't, when you file your taxes, if you don't have enough deductions, which are business expenses, so mileage, gas, supplies, marketing, subscriptions, all those type of things, to deduct from your income, then you're gonna owe. And it's good to have bookkeeping in place to help reduce that tax liability, right? Because if I made $10,000, but I spent $5,000 in business expenses, I only have to pay taxes on $5,000. Does that make sense? That's why it's important to keep up with your receipts, to put a bookkeeping system in place, because it matters. Because even though you may only made $5,000, if you got $3,000 in expenses and you didn't keep not one receipt, now you stuck with owing whatever the taxes are on $5,000 instead of, what's that, $2,000. All right. Not doing your research. So I made this to kind of explain, what do I mean by not doing your research? Okay, so business name check. Before you start a business, we're all excited. We got this business idea. Before you even get to doing all the LLCs and stuff, business name check. And I want you to check it more than one place. You're going to check it for whatever state that you live in. Typically, they have a search engine on the Secretary of State. So you have the Alabama SOS website. All of you that told me that you had a business or LLC, we can go to that site right now and pull it up and see the date that you made it and all the information that you put on your application. That's the first thing I do when someone tells me they have a business. If it's not there and they paid someone to do it, we need to figure out which state it was in because it's not Alabama. All right? The next thing that you need to do is you need to go to the trademark website. Before we started our businesses, did we check the trademark? United States patent? Let's go there. And let me tell you why this is important. Most of the stories when I teach guys, they come from my own personal experience. I have a company, my oldest company, to be frank, it's trademark. And I thought what many people thought, it's a little business, ain't nobody gonna trademark it. I got time. Oh, it's so expensive. It's like $1,200 to do this. Like, I got time. Yeah, somebody trademark it. Do you know how much money that we put into these businesses in the marketing? You get shirts, you get tents, you do websites, you buy domains, you do all this stuff for this business, and you look up one day and somebody trademark it. And you've been putting your hard-earned money into this for years. You don't want that to happen. So before you start a business, do your research. Search it with the state, search it here. I use Slutty Vegan because I love the way that this lady has trademarked her business. When you go to the patent website, you'll see here live and registered. You can't touch it. This means this person has this trademark. And if you look right here, you can see in what category. Downloadable mobile application for ordering vegan food. She's got it down pat. Anything you could think about that you could use Slutty Vegan for, she has it protected. Cell phone cases. You think you're gonna go out here and make some Slutty Vegan cell phone cases? You are not. Anything you can think of that you could put Slutty Vegan on, she has trademarked it. Bar services, catering, serving of food and drinks, hoodies, baseball caps, sneakers. She didn't do it just for food. She did it for everything. She even did it she started to do it for her, you can tell a lot when you read. She started to do it for her menu items. To where you can't even take her menu items. If you wanted to name, you're gonna open up a store and call it Side Chick. But here it says dead and abandoned. So if you see it and it says dead and abandoned, it's up for grabs. Because this means something happened with the application, they didn't answer or respond to something, but this isn't good. But anytime it says live, you might as well find you another name. Was that helpful?
Yeah.
Okay. I wish somebody would have told me that. So let's get back into this. That's not where I was. Where was I? Oh, before you go. So business name check, which is checking your Secretary of State, and then also checking the trademark, and then just do a Google name search. Right? Do a Google name search and see if that business name is already being used. Also, check the social media handles. You know what's going to suck? When you pay for that LLC and you get ready to create your Facebook page or your Instagram, but somebody already got the name. Because you want to be consistent in your branding. That has happened to me too. I had a business. I created it. By the time I got to the point where I started to do social media, the name that I wanted was taken. And I had already bought a domain name. So now I got a website, because that domain name was taken that I wanted that's different. And then I got an email address that's got to be different because the email address that I wanted was kind of taken. And then the social media was taken. So that's why that research is important. Okay, so just check it out all the way through. So we talked about the domain name and the email handle. And then also your competition and market research. Identify the top 3 to 5 competitors in your area in their niche. Yes, I'm telling you to be nosy. Be nosy and go see what people are doing in your industry to see how they're doing. How are things going? Who's their target audience? Where are they showing up? What groups are they a part of? What type of events do they go to? What type of events do they host? Where are they with their customers? Determine what makes your offer unique. I would even try their customer experience. What am I saying when I say that? Buy something. Try it out. See how long it takes for somebody to call you back. See how many times you got to call them to get service. Figure out what their pain points are. Figure out when you do. Now, I'm not telling you to copy their business. I'm telling you to study. to figure out what are the things that set you aside and make what you do different, even though it's in the same industry. Price analysis. You can't just say, I'm going to charge $2 for this water. You could, but how would you know if you're really making money? Okay? So price analysis, which is what I'm telling you to do before you even start the business, because it would really, really suck for you to start the business and then find out what you got going on really ain't that profitable. Really isn't worth your time. You have to do the research first. Research what customers are paying already for similar products or services in your industry. Consider the cost of goods, labor, time, and the profit that you want to make. You decide what you want to make. Don't put that last. And that's what a lot of us do. You decide what you want to make. We're going to have to pause. My laptop died.
Do you have a charger?
Yeah, it's in my bag. I know I was on a roll. It's in that bag.
It's up front.
Oh. So yes, you decide what you want to make in your business. And that seems to get last sometimes. It's like you want to I'll just take whatever's left over at the end. No. You should have figured out what you wanted your profit to make when you first got it.
I think I have a question about, and this is something that kind of has come up throughout the different conversations, but sometimes as a community, I think we always think so service-based and like where our skills are, and we like take a literal, like how can I put a price and a value on my skill instead of like looking at our skill set with different dimensions. Like, okay, so if my skill set is cooking, I don't necessarily have to be a cook. I could manufacture bread, or I don't know, people who sell different, seeds and stuff like that. You've had a lot of experience working with different businesses. What have you seen that has been the most profitable for beginners?
Food trucks.
Food trucks? Okay.
But we don't need another food truck.
Yeah.
What we need is a commissary.
Okay.
What we need is someone solving the pain points of everyone in that industry. And so that's what I would like new business owners to look at. We don't need another boutique. We don't need another food truck. We don't need another person that bakes cakes or treats. We need people to provide services for those people, right? Come up with a solution. Think bigger. So like you said, you have this skill set and I'm good at this. You don't have to exactly do that. You can be a consultant for that. Consultants make money just by telling people what you know and how you do what you do, instead of actually doing that work in that industry. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Any more questions in that field? We wait for this to load back up.
Yeah, can you give us, I'm such an example person, like I'm such like a literal person. Can you, is there a popular person that we all might know who you're like, okay, that's someone you can model like a consultancy, like after, like someone maybe in popular culture?
I mean, I like Slutty Vegan.
Yeah.
I like what she's got going on. I like that she has failed and she's won. I like how she's been transparent with just the journey of her business and where she came from. That's not her first restaurant. She didn't even start out doing that in the beginning. Her first I don't know if it was her first, but one of her actually burnt down and she didn't have insurance.
Wow.
Right? So she lost everything. She had to go she was working in TV. You know Jerry Springer's show?
Oh,
I think she was like the program director or something. Don't quote me, but I know she was in the show business. So she stopped doing that to go do that, got herself back together, got herself out of debt, all of that. And then she came back and she did that. Made it to the top, y'all. And then some things happened just recently. But now she's got her business back again and she's cooking with gas. So like she is a great role model. Get some of her books, go to some of her her events that she has. Just follow her on Instagram. I really like her journey in business. It's been really satisfying to watch her. Okay, we're back. Okay. All right, so we were talking about our competition, analyzing their pricing, their marketing, customer experience, look at their reviews, and determine what makes your offer unique. We talked about the price analysis, consider the cost of goods, labor, time, desired profit, and setting your price. And then visit your local business licensing office. So me as a tax person, I definitely always ask my new clients this first. Have you been to your local business licensing office to figure out What are the taxes? What are the licenses that you need before you start your business? Because again, imagine doing all the things. 'Cause I have food truck people that do this a lot. Imagine doing all the things that you did. You bought the food truck, you did all this stuff, and now you can't afford the inspection or whatever it is you need for the food truck. You didn't know it was going to be $1,000. Now you got to wait. So what does it cost to register your business in that city, in the county? And then you have local, city, and county in some areas that you have to pay taxes on. Understand the zoning laws. Sometimes we're starting businesses in an area where you can't even do what you're doing. Example, I tried to start a venue in an area that was residential. Should have done your research before you started. And then there was like some type of event license that you had to get. There was another $500. Then I had to go sit up before a board, and the community had to say they wanted another event center in the area. I didn't know none of that because I didn't do my research, and I'd already signed the lease.
I'm gonna stop interjecting. Wait, but I have a question on like, because a lot of the problems that you're throwing out sounds like they would be solved if people had access to capital. Can you talk about how like what you're describing of like your like keeping your booking, making sure you're staying on top of your taxes? How does all that correlate with your credit score and your business credit?
Banks don't like to give money to people that need money. Let me just be frank and honest right there, because the first thing I hear people do when they get their LLC and they get their business, they looking for the money, they looking for a loan, they looking for a grant. If you don't have proof that your business is already successful, you're probably not going to get that loan, okay? And for a grant, they want to see that you're actually doing what you say you're doing. So if you're just starting out, give it at least 2 years. They're going to want to see how you borrow money and pay back. Start small. It could be with a secure card, which we know that means using your own money. You might have to pay $500, $250 down on the card and do that for 6 or 7, 8 months before you start applying for something. But the correct formation of your business and doing these things that we're talking about, and another thing they're going to do, they're going to look for you online. You don't have a website. You don't have no Google reviews. You don't have a Facebook. You don't have an Instagram. You don't have anything. And you coming to me asking me for some money. How can I see that you're really doing what you're doing? You don't have any type of finances. You're using Cash App. You're using PayPal. So you don't even have a steady bank account. And you have no references or proof to show me how you borrow money. Does that correlate?
Yeah. That's good.
So do you suggest that you should not like do business until you can afford it, basically?
That's a good question. I think that you should think it out and research and put together a budget that works for you and put it in blocks that's attainable so that you can start that business and you can keep it rolling. I'm not going to say don't. What I'm going to say is do your research and figure out how much it costs. And as you get the money to go along with it, go ahead and start knocking it out in chunks that works for you.
Okay.
Because a lot of people are winging it. A lot of people don't have the money. They don't have none of these things, but they still out here making money. They're still out here doing their business. And I'm not knocking them. I'm not. But at some point, you're going to have to back it up and you're going to have to do these things. Or else you're never going to scale. And that should be the goal. And off topic with your business, when you start your business, what we never think about is the exit plan. And that's something that's been brought to me that's new. I'm a Goldman & Sachs alumni. And when we started our cohort, they started with the exit plan, which I thought was weird. Because I'm like, I came here to scale my business. You come here asking me how I'm finna get out of it. That wasn't the plan, but it opened up my mind to think of that's that exposure too. Exposure. Exposure is great. We'll go back to that. But when you start a business, you should also ask yourself, are you starting a business to create a job for yourself? Because there are some people, they just want to work, but they just want to work in the way that they want to work for themselves, and that's fine. So you want to work that for whatever 20, 30 years and be done? Or are you trying to create wealth? Are you trying to create legacy? Are you trying to build community? What is your exit plan? What is your goal with this business? Are you just trying to make a little money so you could do something else that you really want to do? Think about that. Write it down. Make sure you revisit that from time to time because you'll get lost. And before you know it, 5, 10, 15 years will go by, and here you are. You've been a small business owner and you don't have any retirement. You don't have any plans for the future. You might not even have anything saved. So think about how you want this to end while we're so eager and excited to get it started. Okay?
Was there anything that stood out to you during your time at your cohort about the exit? Like something that they taught you that you're like, that's like gold?
Yes. So I love the fact that they really challenged us into really thinking about that exit plan. You know, like I just said, do you want it to just be a job for you? Do you want to franchise this business? Do you want to sell it? How do you want to sell it? I never thought about possibly selling it to one of my employees. A lot of the times you build a business, in my example as well, and I have sons. They don't want it. So am I looking for an investor to come in? Do I still want to stay within the business a little bit? Or do I want to completely sell it and move on and close the chapter? Those were hard things for me to think about. And to be honest, I'm still thinking about them. Because when you get started a business, it's your baby. And I don't really want to give my baby away, right? But those are things that you have to think about and get comfortable with. And another thing that goes along in that process is mental health. And you're like, how does that play a part in business? You will be surprised how, if you don't have all things resolved in your business, imagine trying to grow a team and you've got some type of unresolved emotional trauma. You don't trust. How are you going to build a team? How are you going to delegate? Right? How are you going to be the leader that you need to be? As a business owner, I encourage everyone to read some leadership books. Join some leadership cohorts or classes, become a part of some groups, because you are a leader. Even if it's just you have to lead by example. Even if you don't have employees yet, people are watching you. Clean your social medias up. If anybody has a business in here, you guys should not be acting crazy on social media, because the first thing people do is look for the owner. And if you're selling cakes and I go on your personal page and you selling other kind of cakes, right? Are you out here shaking them cakes? It's kind of like, I don't know if I want none of her cakes. So just be mindful when you start that business. You're not the president. You're not a political figure, but you do have some sort of responsibility on how you behave and how you're showing up. Every day you leave the house, and I know y'all have felt like this. When you leave the house and you haven't taken the time to really put yourself together, don't you always see somebody? Don't you? Don't you? Right? Somebody want a picture, and then you might run into somebody that need to be your client. Right? It's been times where I'm like, I really want to give these people a card, but I can't because my hair all over my head. Or I got these slides on. So it almost forces you, if you really think about it and you're really serious about it, to be a better business owner and be a better person. Put pride in yourself. You are your first billboard for your business. Okay? So I tell my people, you do hair, but your hair ain't never done. You do nails, your nails ain't never done. You are a fashion stylist, but it don't look like it. Or whatever it is that you do. You build websites, but you ain't got one. Or your website is trash.
That's loud.
Yeah. It should be. I wanted to sting you. I said it in a way to sting you. Yes.
So basically, when we come out the house, we just have to make sure.
Do your best. Yeah. I don't want to put an unnecessary stress on you, but I want to keep it real with you. I want it to feel how it's supposed to feel. It should feel like this, because you know better. Y'all are old enough. You started a business. You got good sense. Start acting like it. You got a hobby or you got a business. Do you want to do this or you don't? Show up. Show up for it just like you show up on these people's jobs in their uniforms on time like you're supposed to. You should do that for your business every day as much as possible. All right, so understanding your tax responsibilities, research what you owe. We talked about that, federal, state, and local levels. Common taxes include income tax, self-employment tax, business privilege tax, which in Alabama, you gotta be making a lot of money to have to pay that now. They took it away. Sales tax, use tax, it's so many different taxes. You all know what I do? I call the state, especially when I'm working with a new person in a new state. Simple. Call the state. Hey, I'm opening up this type of business. What type of taxes apply to that? What do I need to know so that I can be in compliance? They are more than happy to answer your questions. You don't know what you don't know. All right, so we talked about the NAICS code, the DUNS number. So the DUNS number, it's free and it's required for building your business credit and applying for government contracts. It's a free number. It's a free website that we can go to. It's called Duns & Bradstreet. It's right here. Looks like this. It's free. Don't buy none of the stuff they try to sell you. Just get the number, okay? As soon as you go on their site, you're gonna start getting ads, pop-ups, emails, all this stuff. But it's important to go ahead and have this number. You might not be ready for government contracts or even doing anything where someone might ask this of you, but just go ahead and get it and have it for your business. So you log in and you create the number and it's free. Now they will try to get you to buy something. You don't have to buy anything. You can still get the number. Where was I? All right. Open up a business bank account. To get a business bank account, you will need to have your LLC paperwork. I had actually had someone this last week told me that the bank did not ask them for their LLC paperwork. I don't know what bank they went to open up an account, but every account, I have several bank accounts, there's several banks, I had to have that LLC paperwork and I had to have that EIN number. You have to give that to them. So that's a part of having a business bank account. It's not that hard. It's really not that hard, but you do need to have those. And then also choosing the right business structure, LLC, sole proprietorship, partnership, corporation. We talked about tax liabilities. And then if you are unsure about these things, please, please, please get with a tax advisor on those things. So we're gonna move to the next one. Okay, that was my pro tip, my business research checklist that you should do. Now, we're going into the business formation timeline on all the things that you need to actually formate that business. We talked a little bit about a lot of these things earlier. So reserving your business name on the Secretary of State. Each state has some type of Secretary of State that you would go to. So here's Alabama. We're all here in Alabama. And here's the page here. And all the things that you need to legally do for your business in the state of Alabama is here. So business forms, business name and entity search. So let's search Slutty Vegan because they are actually around the corner. So entity name, here, Slutty Vegan. When I'm working with my clients, this is the first thing that I do. Oh, you got a business? Okay, let me see. All right, you come here and you'll notice that there says foreign corporation. This means that she did this process in Atlanta and then she came over here to Alabama to do business and she filled out paperwork so she could do business in Alabama. Here, remember when I told you that everything is public? Do not use your home address when you formate your business. Do not use your home address when you formate your business. You can get a virtual address. There are several places. Polaris, you guys do that? Polaris does it. And I have a story about this. Everything I teach, I almost have a story about. I did this for a company of mine, and somebody was at my house. They was like, yeah, I was coming in for an appointment, and I was like, what appointment? It was like, well, I'm here, and there's like some bikes, and it's a porch, and it's a house, and I said, where did you get my house? How'd you get to my house? And they were like, I pulled it up and it was online. These people were at my house. And when I figured it out, it was because I was like, my address isn't on my website. It's not on my Facebook. How did they get my address? Somewhere online on Google pulled this with that and my home address came up. And it was all because it was here. So I tell people when you're formatting your business, don't do that. But here you can see the address, the mailing address, the place it was formed, the date. A lot of the times when you're filling out things, they'll ask you what was the formation date of your business. Sometimes you forget. You can always come back here. It lets you know about their registered agent, corporate service company Inc. So she's obviously paying someone to do these for her. You don't have to pay someone to do this for you. You can do it yourself. Let's see, she started doing business in Alabama in April 13th, 2021. Way longer than we knew before they even opened up. Okay, it shows the transaction, they did it. her name was changed. And then also, if I wanted to purchase her filing documents, I could. It's public record.
Why would you do that?
Maybe I want to sue her. Maybe I want to know some information about her. Maybe she's a client and she can't find this paperwork. It's cool. I'll come. I'll find it. I'll print it off. Maybe I'm investigating her. So keep that in mind.
To get that to search.
So this is the SOS, the Secretary of State for Alabama.
Okay.
But yeah, you can purchase the documents. I've purchased them several times.
So are you saying if I don't file, I can't get sued? So
People will find a way to find you because we're always posting everything on social media. So it's not hard to get what you need. You just need a few things. All right, so I wanted to go back and show you. So that's how you can search a business. And then to start that business, let's go back another page. All right, so back here to this page, Alabama Secretary of State. We have our business forms. Sometimes we need to change your address. Those type of forms will be in here. And then we have certificate of existence. This is a certificate to show that you exist as a company in the state of Alabama. I applied for a grant one time and they asked for this. And I learned that this is where I get that from. Now, if you owe the state of Alabama or you owe any type of taxes or anything to the Alabama Department of Revenue, you will be denied. All right, so name reservation menu. So you reserve the name here, and they have also combined the formation with this. The full total now to do a name reservation and the formation of an LLC is $236. If anybody is charging you more, they're charging you for their time. It's $236 to get an LLC in the state of Alabama as of today. So you will start with your name reservation, which I believe costs $28 by itself. If you only have enough money to do the name reservation and you just want to reserve that name, by all means, do it. It's $28. That name reservation is good for 1 year. After that year, someone else can reserve that name.
Unless you trademark.
That's two different things. So trademark, think national, United States. This is just Alabama. So even when you, yes, the LLC is Alabama. But you're a LLC everywhere, but that name is not trademarked nationally. I learned that there are about 15 partyologies in the United States, from Texas to New York to blah, 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 but there's only one person in California that has it trademarked. So technically, when she gets ready, she could send all of us a cease and desist letter, shut it down, even ask for the monies that we're making under the name, because she officially owns the name to that company. So this is just a step. If you really, really want to be about your business, you get a trademark for your business. It's like $1,200. So put that on your list of things to do. Because yes, you have the rights and things here in the state of Alabama. You have the name reservation. No one else can open up whatever the name of your business is in Alabama. But somebody can open up their name in Georgia. They can open it up in Texas. They can open it up in Arkansas. But whoever has the trademark trumps. Okay? Understand that. That's two different things. It's just a step. So back to this, you can do your name reservation, you can do your LLC, it's $236. People are always asking, how do I want to get an LLC? This is how you do it right here, it's $236. Okay. All right, so that's how we reserve our name. That's also how you do your LLC. All right, we can pick our NAICS code here. For the industry, you can search the type of industry that you're in. Food sometimes can be catering, so you figure out what fits you best. Okay? Are you doing cat food? All right, this would be your NAICS code. You processing food or you canning food? You go through here, you put your industry in, and sometimes it's tricky, right? Sometimes you can't find it. Ask ChatGPT. Google it, okay? Do your research on it.
Is a NAICS code something that's fixed, or can you change it?
You can change it.
Okay.
So you choose this code here. It's not like a number that's assigned to you. You go through your best judgment and you figure out which one best fits your business. And when you apply for the things that ask for the NAICS code, you have them.
Okay.
Everyone's not going to ask for that. I found these are the government entities, municipalities, things like that. They will ask for this number. But just a regular day-to-day person, they don't even know what this is probably. Okay. All right, we talked about buying those domain names and setting up a professional email. We went to the irs.gov website for the EIN. I showed you guys the DUNS number. You open up your business bank account, and then sam.gov if you're seeking government contracts. I'll just show you what the site looks like. This can be intimidating at first, but if your goal is to get government contracts and things of that nature, you're gonna wanna get a sams.gov. You're gonna need your DUNS number though in order to get this. You're gonna need to have all those other things. That's why this is last. All that is gonna have to be in place before you come here. And this is a process. It could take a couple of days, a week or two, or even a month, just depending on the back and forth and how you respond to what they need. But you don't want to start this until you do all of the other things first. All right, so business credit. Not gonna hold you guys. Your personal credit needs to be good. I know there are a lot of things that are going on in the internet, a lot of things that are going on TikTok about get 100K in 90 days. Your personal credit still has to be good, okay? So I can teach you these things. I'm gonna tell you, you can take a picture of this, you can do these things. But if your personal credit is trash, don't let them fool you. Don't let them fool you. Your personal credit has to be good as well. I'm not talking about 800, 700, but it needs to be decent in order for people to give you some business credit, okay? All right, so here's some easy hanging fruit. Getting a separate phone number plus a business address. You can use virtual. However, depending on who you're trying to get stuff from, they don't like it. They don't. And if you get a virtual address, make sure when they pull it up online, it looks like a nice kind of multi-business place. If it looks like one building and you have like several people in that, when it's just one building, it can get a little testy. It just depends on what you're applying for. But a separate phone number is easy. And we're not just talking about a Google Voice number. I do recommend Google Voice when people first start out because it's free. I use something called Ring Central. You can Google other ones, but you do need a separate phone number, which can ring to your personal phone. Everybody doesn't like to have multiple phones. I have 2, but I have about 7 different numbers going between those 2 phones in different apps, okay? Each business has a different phone number, an address, and all your businesses can be at one address, but it just depends. But like I said, get a separate phone number, a business address, open up a Net 30 vendor account. So Uline, Quill, Granger, etc. They all report to DUNS. You know how when you get a loan or you get a car or you get a new store card and it reports on your personal credit? These companies like this are going to report to that business credit. And that's what we want because we want to start building it. So Uline, Quill, Granger, those are going to be things like office supplies, things that you need for your business. And I know you can buy them a lot cheaper in the store from Dollar Tree or Walmart, but we want to grow our business. So we're going to buy that Windex for $7, okay? And we're going to pay it off before the end of the month so that we can help grow our business credit. You want to use them and you want to pay them on time, and that's going to create a paydex score. You know, you like to run to Credit Karma so you can see your score. Well, in business, for your business credit, it's a paydex score. And so that's how you build that score, by opening up accounts with people that report to your business credit. That's going to build the paydex score, and that's what's going to be what other companies use to determine on whether they want to give you money or not. Okay? Along with your bank statements along with your bookkeeping, your profit and loss. So it's a whole deal when you have your business stuff. You want to monitor your profile with Nav, Duns and Bradstreet, and Experian. You guys are probably want to take a picture of this so that you can go to those sites and check them out and create an account. And then avoid mixing personal credit and build your profile early. It's two separate things, but they still work together. So I don't want to be misleading, because there's just a lot of information out here that is misleading, and it misleads business owners to think that they can just get the LLC and just go get $100,000 in 90 days. And that's just not the case if your personal credit isn't good. It's just not. All right, so non-negotiables. Treat your business like a business from day one. Get help, hire, automate, and outsource. I know when you're first starting, those three things don't seem like something that you can do, but you definitely need to start thinking about them before you burn out and you don't want to do it anymore. Show up even when no one's watching. Build an income plan with strategy, and don't chase everything. I know it's going to be difficult when you start and you see X, Y, and D doing this, and they getting all this clout and doing this, so now you feel like you got to start doing this. No. Steadfast, focus, stay with your strategy in your plan, and master what you do, because nobody can do what you do how you do it. All right, so toolbox essentials, business formation. I gave you everything you needed to know. Now for bookkeeping, Wave, QuickBooks, and Notion. Those are a few ones that are affordable. A CRM. WorkSmart Solutions partners with Auxilio X, and if you're interested in a CRM, you can scan this below and we'll do a 14-day free trial. CRMs are important because how do you remember all your clients' birthdays? What about the mass text messaging in the emails, and when you want to create a funnel, or when you want to create some type of sale to put out to people, mass, all at one? Or when someone has messaged you on your website, how do you make sure that they are automatically messaged back? You get a CRM. And a CRM, once it's set up, it'll run like butter. So that's something that we do there. We talked about domain and emails, but I didn't tell you where. So Google Domains, Namecheap, Google Workspace are all places where you can get a domain name, as well as GoDaddy. And I always say research for yourself. And then for the business credit tools, you got nav.com, the Duns and Bradstreet, Uline, Quill, and there's several others that you can also utilize. So let's talk about money. We're almost to the end here. Questions that I want to leave you with, and if you have questions or you feel like you don't have the answers or you don't have these things, please get in contact with me. So, are you profitable, or are you just booked and busy? I see that a lot on statuses. I'm booked and busy, but are you profitable? And that stings to hear. Sometimes we don't know, and once you find out, it doesn't feel good to know that, man, I've been doing all this running around, but I really ain't making no money, and I don't know how to make money, and I can't stop because I have all these orders to fulfill or all these things to do. I'm in it now, but I ain't making money. Do you know your margins? Do you know what your profit margins are? Do you even know how much money you're making or could be making? Do you separate your business and personal finances? Or are you using one bank account to do everything? When is the last time that you actually paid yourself? And I don't mean just using your business card to go get something to eat or go to dinner. I mean, you actually wrote a check to yourself, direct deposited money into your bank account from your business, wrote yourself a check or whatever. When is the last time you actually paid yourself? And then the last one is, if you needed to borrow $5,000 tomorrow, could you get it? I know my new business owners, or the ones that haven't started, cannot. But for those that have been in business for a while, if you needed $5,000, could your business get it? Think about those things. All right. So anybody have any biggest business challenges right now? And if you're stuck in formation, I would like to know. Any challenges anybody wants to share right at this moment that you're having?
So starting out, I guess back in 2018, I applied for some seed funding, and I guess the way that I pitched myself to that personnel, it sounded like I was a nonprofit. Coming here and watching, talking to people this week, they gave me language to understand, social enterprise. And so sometimes, again, going back to those social enterprises, they don't like to invest in those type businesses. So how could I go back to those investors or angel investors and see how can I differentiate myself in a way that they be able to give me that startup funding.
That's a really good question. Class, y'all have any suggestions? Let's go.
I have a suggestion. So, what was the product or service that you were trying to get them to invest in?
Seeing that my business will be able to implement through the arts and science space. So no matter, it could be ministry, it could be psychology, it could be just doing arts.
Yeah. So the first thing I would say is go back and look at what you had down, and now that you have new language, reframe it, reword it. Because if I'm going to invest, the only reason people invest, sometimes because they really believe in you and they want to support you, is because they want their money back. So what you need to do is go back, look at it, and be able to pull out the revenue stream. Show them how this product, this service is going to make money and how they're going to get it back. And if you have a relationship with them, once you put that back together and you practice that pitch, and we can do it together because you're my bud, right? You can go back to them and say, hey, thank you so much for having that meeting with me last year. I want to present something to you in another way, and hopefully you're open to it, right? And another thing too, like for all of us, if we're ever in situations where someone says they're going to do something and they pull back, it's okay to ask them why.
It is.
So what about this didn't you understand? Or when I said this, tell me what you heard, right? Because sometimes it's just really about communication as well. So sometimes in those settings, if it doesn't seem like it's going well, or at the end of that pitch, ask them to repeat back to you what they heard, right? But I would say take what you know now, reframe it, make sure you can show them the revenue, how they're going to make money, because that's what the social enterprise piece is about, right? And then just actually have another meeting with them.
I think one thing I'm learning up in my nostrils in the real estate market, not just the good side, but the bad side, and that's just being good at making money. Because I think sometimes we'll get caught in scaling and what it takes to scale when we haven't been able to create consistent revenue. And so the thing about it, investors is they know money. Like they know money because they got it and they're not trying to lose it. So if you have an asset that's making money, it'll sell itself, and you can't ask why. And then it's all about leverage. Then at that point, it's about, okay, you see I'm making money. I just need to fit where I want to fit at the table. But I think that's the part of us just kind of getting a consistent model of making cash. I think A.G. Gaston was best at that. You know what I mean? He just made money, and then it just rolled over. I mean, it turned it over. So, y'all.
And to piggyback on what they're saying, all of that plus data and storytelling. You gotta have the data, like Alicia said. People want to see what you're doing and how you're doing what you do. And the storytelling piece goes big as a business owner. When you're looking for somebody to fund into your business, practice that storytelling, practice that pitch. Practice how you're, ask yourself why. Why would I give myself money for my business? So practice a good, one of my favorite mentors is Selena Rogers Dickerson, and she is a phenomenal storyteller when it's time for her to talk about her business. She does engineering. What is the type of engineering? Civil engineering. And she tells this story about how her grandmother, she watched her grandmother walk every day in the rain, sleet, or snow, and how there was no covering, there was nothing at the bus stop for her grandmother. And then she talks about how she worked hard and she really builds it. So she doesn't just come right in saying, this is what I do and how I do it. She gives a really great backstory. It gets your feelings going. It gets you really listening because she is very descriptive about what her grandmother wore and how she walked in the rain, sleet, and snow. And then she fast forwards to how today, her company has built a sidewalk now, has built a bench, has built a covering for the next little old lady that's still walking today to sit on that bench, and how she drove by knowing that her company. And it was a great story. I wanted to give her some money after I heard the story, so that data and storytelling too is going to be really good for that.
Thank you all.
You're welcome. All right. And so that's it. If you want to connect with me so we can keep some of these conversations going, here's my email address, our website. And if you need help getting your business formed, funded, or automated, you can book a consultation. I don't know what's going on with that, but yes.